Hey everyone, welcome to the grand finale as I wish you all nothing but the absolute best going into the 2026 year and moving forward. Our 3 secret code names will be timestamped in the description so you can skip to the one you're drawn to. We're going to go over all 12 months, and Spirit guided me to a few things this morning. So you can expect to see these months tied into specific astrological transits with different decks that I'll be using. These readings are so detailed, I did not want to risk a live stream losing connection. I didn't want to miss anything being said. So thank you for your patience. I do hope you find the readings helpful, insightful, and accurate as you are guided to return to it throughout the 2026 year. Breaking down the decks and transits for you, I'll be using the Before Tarot for January through close to the end of March, before the sun enters the 0 point of Aries on the spring equinox. Then from March 21st to April 9th, I'll be pulling a theme energy for this Aries transit, leading up to, Mars joining the party in there. I'll be pulling from my Mists of Magic Majors Tarot for that. For April to about May 16th, I'll be using traditional Rider-Waite to get into the intense Aryan energy going on. May 16th, we have a new moon in Taurus with conjunctions to Mercury and Uranus as Mars is conjunct Chiron. So the vibe completely shifts post new moon. And because this is such a benchmark new moon, especially because it's pretty darn close to being squared with the nodes, I'll be using the After Tarot for the rest of May, June, and July. Because on July 26th, the nodes change signs. And so the end of May, June, and July are really about a huge wrapping up of the Pisces Virgo nodes and the lessons they brought us moving into all this solidifying new energy that we have going on. For August and September, I'll be going back into the Mists of Magic Majors Tarot for some themes, not just for these months themselves, but it's also a greater nodal transit as we get a good taste of it here pre-Venus retrograde, which comes as its first major shift, as Venus only really goes retrograde every 2.5 years or so. I'm pretty sure of all the planets, Venus has the longest direct cycle. We'll already be deep into retrograde season with the outer planets in August and September. So this may even serve you well looking back on it. Possibly even come New Year's Eve looking into 2027, right? And continuing into 2027 as we deal with the Leo Aquarius nodes. For October, November, and December, that kicks off the changes of direction with 5 different planets going direct because I count Pluto. I will always count Pluto. December 12th, Jupiter goes retrograde, and I'll be pulling a special guidance card for our planet of wisdom going into 2027 to help guide you into 2027. And I'll be using my doodle deck for October, November, and December's energies. So much love to all of you. Let's get into these readings. Starting with secret code name Abstentious. So if this is your secret code name, if you were drawn to the secret code name, let's get into what your 2026 year looks like. We're going to start with January, February, and March with the Before Tarot. This is as Saturn and Neptune are situating themselves at 0 point Aries before the sun meets them in Aries on the 21st of March. So let's see. Spirit, what is going on in January? For secret code name Abstentious. What is going on in January? We have the 2 of Swords. What else? And the World. Okay. For February. We have the Three of Cups with the Knight of Wands. And then for March up to the 21st. We have the Emperor, Temperance reverse, Judgment. Wow, 3 major arcana. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. All right, let's start here. So for January, we have the Two of Swords with the World card. So for you, January might be the realization that you know you're going to be put up against a rock and a hard place kind of choice, you know, and not wanting to make it. You could see here, you know, this is the before tarot, so she's wrapping the blindfold around her eyes herself. This is self-inflicted blindness when it comes to closing a cycle and choosing to really unite with your own inner masculine and feminine energy in January. So be aware of that. If there's something that you're avoiding or something you don't want to look at, something you don't want to talk about, that's exactly what this energy is in January. It's something you don't really want to acknowledge that is in your highest good, right? Then as we get into February, we have the Three of Cups with the Knight of Wands in the reverse. And this just feels like a really huge distraction. It does feel like, you know, you're having fun and doing what you want to do, but not necessarily feeling inspired in any way. It's just a very simple way of enjoying life the way you are choosing to enjoy it, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's no growth here. You know, the Knight of Wands in the reverse is no spark. It's not really feeling driven or even guided to anything. You know, there's no signs or synchronicities or, you know, positive cues from spirit. And it is because you were ignoring it back in January, right? So it's not like life isn't enjoyable, but it really is very distracting in February. Okay. And then as we get into March, leading up to the 21st, this is big, big energy. So we have the Emperor with the Temperance card reversed and Judgment. So listen, the Emperor is straight up masculine energy. And when we're dealing with an Emperor like this, you know, all of these choices here are very masculine. Choosing not to see, right? Choosing to do what you want to do. It's very masculine based. The issue is there's not feminine energy here. And that's what's being judged, the lack of alchemy, right? That's the Judgment card with Temperance. It's the lack of alchemy. It's spirit, right? These major arcana, recognizing the fact that you have not chosen to elevate, that you have not chosen to purify, that you have not chosen to welcome in your divine feminine energy and take into account how you're feeling. You know, on the inside with that inner conversation that happens, you know, it's like, I had put out a post on it, I think. I was talking about it at some point, but it might have been a private conversation. I don't remember now. But it was kind of talking about, like, you know, people could say, oh, well, I love this person, that's why I do this, or, you know, I love this person, and so, you know, I tolerate that from this person because they need it. And it's like, you're talking about love and thinking about love, but the feeling, the actual feeling is this sucks. And so, you know, not recognizing that actual feeling of this sucks, that's the feminine. The feminine is saying, hey, what you're choosing, masculine, what you're choosing sucks. I'm receiving a feeling that doesn't feel good. And so in March, there's a big judgment for that. There is a big judgment for that in March. Knowing that in advance, you can absolutely choose a different route and tune in, like really tune into yourself, because this is all like pre-equinox, true new year, you know, energy. And it's the end of Pisces and Saturn in Aries in Pisces as they transit in Aries. So knowing this ahead of time, you do have to recognize that this reckoning of spirit, this judgment of spirit is kind of coming. And you can't avoid 3 major arcana. Like, these aren't minors. You know, the minors are things that we choose without consulting spirit. The majors are when spirit is present. So, you know, you have spirit present in January letting you know, like, hey, this needs to wrap up. And you're like, no, I'm just going to close my eyes to it. I want to, you know, live an egoic life, or I'm in control of things a little bit longer. And spirit's like, I don't think you understand. In March, I don't think you understand, right? So let's get this theme energy post equinox from the 21st to April 9th as like a bonus card to see what is really going on once the sun enters Aries and Mars is gearing to enter Aries, because Mars enters Aries on April 9th. So this is the theme, right, that's going on with these 2 weeks. The deeper major arcana, the Miss of Magic Major Tarot is all major arcana. It's got 4 different versions of every major arcana to really get specific about the milestone energy, the spiritual focus, right, from our higher self, our integrated self. What is it? What is it, please, Spirit? For secret code name Abstentious. What is the theme of this Aryan energy? Yeah, Spirit wants you in inner union, man. Spirit wants you in inner union. We got the Judgment card out twice now. This is about inner union. If that is what you're neglecting moving forward, then that is what Spirit is focusing on. You know, it says, I choose us forever in this life and all others. When the final judgment is made that Yang will choose an alignment with Yin, that the mind will never again ignore how the heart feels, and the intuition is trusted and honored, the soul transcends. This is when the choice is made to accept the highest life path your soul can experience. Spirit is like, you deserve the best. You don't even know what the best is. But I'm going to make sure you heal so that you can receive it. So that you can receive it. Never again will you ignore your intuition, you know, which is a big deal. It's Ophiuchian energy, this card. Major healing, okay? Major healing. Let's see what is going on for the rest of March and April into May. May 16th, we're going to get to the end of March with April, and then through May 16th. What is going on, please, Spirit? Give us one more card for March's energy once Mars enters Aries. Give us one more card for March. The Knight of Cups in the reverse. Yeah, it's that choosing to allow communication from a place of love. This is where the mind is choosing not to express that kind of compassion or empathy, right? That you're not your own knight in shining armor. That you are not the one coming to your rescue. That is absolutely what Spirit is addressing. 100%. What is going on in April? What is going on in April? We have the Magician and the Four of Cups. Okay. And what is going on in May until the 16th? What is going on in May up until the 16th? The King of Wands with the Page of Pentacles. Okay. So, I love you so much. So you're fighting it. The universe is manifesting some shit and you're distracted with the Three of Cups up here. Spirit's showing you the Ace of Cups and you're like, arms folded. No, you know, focusing on the Three of Cups, I'm focusing on what I want. The King of Wands doubles down on that. The King of Wands is a visionary, but it's very masculine. It's cardinal fire. It's like, I am going to succeed at the path I have chosen, not at the path the divine has chosen with me, that I've chosen with the divine, but that I have chosen separate from the divine. You're trying to force and create opportunities with the Page of Pentacles and hoping that it grows. You know, so come April, Spirit might really be offering you an opportunity, especially because you're under judgment in March, right? For not really listening to how you're feeling, to ignoring how you're feeling when your feelings are trying to communicate with you. The Magician from Spirit is showing you another way, showing you that maybe there is something else, a different possibility, and you're missing it. You're gung-ho set. Right? King of Wands and Page of Pentacles. Gung-ho set. You're like, I will succeed hell or high water. Hell or high water. That's rough, man. Let's get an after tarot for that for the rest of May. Before we get into June and July. What is that going to end up looking like post new moon? Right, that new moon in Taurus. What is going on? Because this is your Mars and Aries cycle. You know, April and into May, that's all Mars and Aries. So definitely driven, definitely masculine energy, trying to force things, right? Give us another card for May, post new moon. Because that's when Mars is essentially conjunct Chiron. Yeah, we got the Fool. Yeah, we've got the Fool with the Two of Wands in the reverse. And this is realizing that you jumped off the cliff and that you actually do and need help and could use help. You know, it's not after, you know, until after you've walked off the cliff that you decide to smell the roses. The Two of Wands in the reverse. With the after tarot, I mean, it's coming off pause, but not necessarily willing to accept help yet. Okay, so post new moon in May, you are going to realize that maybe you've taken it a step too far with the charge, you know, with the masculine direction, and aren't necessarily willing to embrace your feminine yet, but you have at least acknowledged that maybe you need to take at least a step back and reconsider where you're going and what you want your world to look like, right? What is going on in June? What is going on in June as we're, you know, wrapping up this nodal transit with this Pisces and Virgo? What is going on as we wrap up that transit? What is going on as we wrap up that transit? What's going on in July? June and July. What is going on in June and July? One more for June. So we got the Chariot in the reverse with the Knight of Cups. Oh, I just heard bargaining with Spirit. Because here's that Knight of Cups up here, right? This is what you didn't do before. This is the compassion you weren't accepting before. Those voices and feelings inside yourself asking you to show yourself compassion. The Chariot in the reverse, Spirit's not making a move yet. Because the Chariot, that's when the divine starts making moves. You ask and you will receive. But you have to ask from a place of sincerity and readiness. The divine ain't going to make moves until your energy aligns with it. So you might be understanding what Spirit needs you to do, wants you to do, where you are internally with that conversation, but not necessarily feeling ready. Spirit's saying you're ready when you're ready. You know, Spirit's saying you're ready. That's your ready. Your mind might want to control it and stay in this Knight of Cup energy. But it does feel almost like you're drinking your own Kool-Aid a little bit. You know, this particular Knight of Cups is drinking from his cup in the After Tarot. And so I feel like, you know, the universe wants to move for you. But you might still be playing some mind games with yourself. Okay. What is going on in July? What is going on in July? Wrapping up this nodal transit with Pisces and Virgo. What is going on? Wrapping up this nodal transit. Ooh, we always like the Sun. That's an interesting card though. The After Tarot. And the Ace of Cups. So you've got two inner children. You got two inner childs here. Okay? With the Ace of Cups. And the two children is kind of what's cracking me up. Because you got one that's like, you know, this flag waving the banner. And the other one is pulling at it. You know, and the other one's trying to keep it up. And so, you know, you might be dealing with your inner child masculine and your inner child feminine being in conflict, right? For who can shine. And Spirit's like, maybe they don't have to fight though. You know, it's not just the love that Spirit's giving. It's the peace, right? The dove is present. It's the peace. This is about Spirit overflowing to you. It's not about your feminine being in control or your masculine being in control. What wounds, you know, are trying to shine. It's about them listening to each other and sitting down and having a conversation and saying, you know what, this flagpole is actually kind of heavy. Why don't we just carry it together? Why don't we just let our energy be solid and work together instead of fighting? You know, why don't we be proud of ourselves, Leo energy? Why don't we allow that to come in and enter the scene? Why don't we allow ourselves to be proud of what we've accomplished by letting Spirit overflow? You know, and I think that's the biggest deal for July. As you wrap up your nodal transit with Pisces and Virgo, this is really about your inner children duality, your masculine and feminine, really showing up with love and peace for each other. That is the goal, that love and peace is the ultimate goal. Loving your life, loving the people in it, loving the circumstances, the environments, the situation, and feeling at peace in your life. Like, will life always have events that we can't foresee in it? Yeah, but how you handle it depends entirely on your spiritual health and these two inner children working together. So July, Spirit is really pushing you to handle that conflict, you know? And I'm hearing it in my head, like Spirit saying, you know, you give the kind of love that you want to receive because you didn't receive it. What you give to other people and what you hope for in return is because you didn't receive it. And if you're chasing it outside of yourself, it's because you haven't given it to yourself from within yourself. The inner reflects in the outer. So what you're asking of other people, what you're hoping for and fingers crossing when it comes to other people and how they treat you, you're really having to step into this energy of, I need to do this for me. I need to give this kind of energy, this kind of focus, this kind of consideration to me. And instead of saying yes to other people, maybe I need to start saying yes to myself. You know? So, July. All right. Getting into August. August and September, we got new nodes, right? It's the heart of retrograde season. Heart of retrograde season and pre-Venus retrograde, right? August and September is pre-Venus retrograde. So let's see. Let's see. What is the big energy going on with the new nodes? What is the big energy going on with the new nodes? Secret code name abstentions. I love this deck so much. August. We have Death and the Emperor. Huge transformations to the masculine energy. Huge. This version of the Death card is the angel Bethesda. It says, when force fails, we blame God. In reality, we are angry with ourselves for not listening to the voice of God within us. He has ignorance down his chest and regret on his sleeve. The universe demands divine order. That's this version of the Emperor. That's it right there. Sovereignty is the supreme power. Sovereignty is the supreme power. It's divine order. It's divine order. This is when the masculine understands that the feminine is worth its weight in gold. Literally holding a coin with the feminine on it. Right there on his throne with that value. Keeping it close. This is when Venus and Mars are in agreement, right? Our masculine and feminine energy are in agreement, and we're sovereign. Where other people's choices, other people's needs, other people's wants, other people's demands, other people do not control you. They don't affect your mood. They don't affect your choices. Like, they don't affect your life plan. You know, this is about when you start steering your ship and you're like, this is my life plan. This is the kind of people I want around me. This is the kind of relationship that I want to have. This is the kind of career that I'm after. And not changing that just because someone enters that you hope will fit. Or that you would surrender that vision so that you can fit into theirs. Spirit's like, be sovereign. Don't let anything else outside of yourself skew what you're doing. Let people gravitate towards you and fit in like puzzle pieces. Death to the ego is not knowing your divine direction and just choosing things because this might work or that might work, or we hope this will and maybe that will, you know, and we go after things that are not in alignment. So August, with these new moons, these new nodes, these new lunar nodes are really pulling you in. They're really pulling you in. I actually really like it. It's going to feel intense, right? Because we've got Scorpionic energy. We've got Mars energy out there twice with those cards. Mars is big. I mean, it's huge, right? We just went through Mars and Aries. And then we have that new moon in May. And it starts to transit Taurus. It starts to go through these cycles with Uranus. And there's a lot of revelation that is going to be coming from, you know, understanding what we're doing. and the deeper reasons behind why we're doing it. What about September, please? What about September, please? What's going on in September? Maybe one more? Two more. All right. Chariot in the reverse again. Comes out with the Star card. Pandora's box specifically. And the Empress. The highest version of the Empress in this deck. It says, when yin leads, the world is paradise. It's an intuitive creatrix. It's about tuning into your divinity and understanding that your feminine will always guide you in your highest good. It is literally the voice of the divine within you. And all you have to do is align your masculine energy to choose it. This version of the Star card, it says, you know, healing is terrifying at first, but it's about looking beyond the fear. You know, when this Chariot card is in the reverse, it says, release control. Let the divine drive. Divine delays until you learn to trust. First yin, then yang. It's yin yang. It's not yang yin. It's yin yang. First yin, then yang. The feminine gives you the cue, and the masculine chooses in alignment with that cue. That's exactly what this is. And I feel that if you can look beyond the scariness of change, that you really do have so much frickin' abundance coming in. Like, Spirit's like, if you only knew, right? Like, if you only knew what was coming in your direction, you would not be fighting me. You would not be fighting me at all. On a real note, you're giving Spirit a run for its money in 2026. Oh my goodness. All right. Spirit. Let's get these cards just a little bit better. What is going on in October? What is going on in October? We've got Venus and Mercury retrograding at the beginning of it, but then they go direct, and then Pluto is direct, Saturn and Neptune go direct, so we have a lot of shift in energy for October through December. What is going on, please, Spirit, for October? What is going on for October? We got the Mirror. And the Comet reversed. The Mirror with the Comet reversed. It says, looking at your shadow in the mirror, what you can't stand in them, you are also. Take the advice you give and practice what you preach. The reverse comment says, someone warned you, gave you a truth you were not meant to ignore. Dismissing it was a mistake. Final warning. Straying too far off path, disaster or catastrophe. When the comet is in reverse. This is about you looking in the mirror at your shadow, right? Looking in the mirror at your shadow. And realizing that you can't actually persist in this pattern. What you can't stand about somebody else, imagine if Spirit were having that exact thought or conversation about you. They just don't get it. They don't understand. They're so fucking dense. Like, whatever you would say about a person, They're so up my ass. They always are, you know, needing shit from me, blah, blah, blah. Like, Spirit's like, imagine Spirit is having the same conversation about you. Especially when it's been giving you warnings, it's been giving you signs, it's been intuiting the whole time, right? It's been trying to connect with you the entire time. Someone warned you. It might be me. It might be me right now. Someone warned you. Gave you a truth you were not meant to ignore. You know, dismissing it as a mistake. This is the final warning from Spirit in October. You're straying too far off your path, which means, you know, the universe is going to do a reset. Universe will do a reset. If it's got to do a hard reset, it will. Those retrogrades going on in October, for real, between Venus and Mercury, Spirit said reset. Retrograde reset. What is going on in November? What is going on in November? Spirit, please. We got the cogs and the seed. Hallelujah. Jeez. We got the cogs and we got the seed. The cogs. It says, for the machine to work like it's supposed to, all the cogs must be in alignment and working together. The wheels are spinning, solution-oriented, group effort, greater good. That's the vibe of the cogs. It's a group effort. It's not something the ego can do by itself or the feminine can do by itself. The feminine can feel all at once. It can't choose a dang thing. The masculine does that, right? It is a group effort. You, your guardian angels, your earth angels, right? The different things that are in alignment for you. When we have the seed, it says healthy environment, growing, breaking through. The hardest part is over and healing taking root. Now you know why I said, thank God. It took us almost all damn year. But we get it in November. You know what I mean? We get it in November, and it's better to get it, period, than to not get it at all. So congrats, because the cogs with the seed, that is a major shift. That's recognizing major changes have to take place, and they don't just have to take place temporarily. They have to be permanent changes, right? And you're doing it from a very internal place, and I think that's really good. What is going on in December? What is going on in the month of December? We got the purity in the reverse. And you are stuck here at the crossroads. Okay. I guess you're not done with Spirit yet. Purity in the reverse. Purity in the reverse is tainted intentions. Someone is not as innocent as they think they are, lacking empathy and inconsistency. All right, saying everything needs to be in alignment. You're breaking through when everything is in alignment, when all the pieces are working together. But if you have tainted intentions, which is it's a way of saying, like, you're choosing something because you do kind of hope for something else. There is an intention behind it, like a secret motive. And you might think you're innocent, that it's okay. But the fact of the matter is, you're not doing it because you're guided. You're doing it because you desire something. And that's how you know the feminine is not included. Because the masculine wants it and starts ignoring things. Starts making excuses for things. Starts validating things for itself. And that's an issue. It lacks empathy. It lacks tuning into the self. And or you may have someone around you that is impure, and you might be stuck on them. Right? The crossroads says stuck at the crossroads, unable to choose awakening or spiritual ignorance. Ego. Red pill or blue pill? It's indecision. Fight in spirit all year, my darling. Fight in spirit all year. That's rough, man. Especially when Spirit's been giving you this kind of nudge that it's okay to trust it. That you don't actually have to be afraid of any of this. You know, let's get you your guidance card from Jupiter, right? Jupiter going retrograde on the 12th of December. It'll be retrograde going into the 2027 new year. So what is the wisdom Spirit has for you moving into the new year? What is the guidance? Please, Spirit. Ooh, came right out. Black diamond. True love is eternal. That's literally why I got this tattoo. That's why my logo is what it is. Black diamond. Card number 39. Ascension, right, with the 3, and closing cycles with the 9. It says, Black diamond is the bearer of powerful spiritual mojo. She shines with dark beauty through the soul that has been able to withstand great intensity and remain intact. With the power to defend you against any jealousy, ill wishing, and curses, Black diamond gives you the power to face your fears. Your soul has been working with Black diamond, transforming your attitude towards fear, learning how to feel it without being overcome by it. Black diamond is only available to the old soul who is ready for it. It takes many lifetimes to be able to confront fear. You have to develop unconditional spiritual trust to do this. Only then can you go through the darkness of the unknown and face your fears willingly, with absolute certainty that you will learn something of value to your soul, and knowing that you will find your way out into the light once more. You are strong enough to experience the darkness within yourself and in the world around you without breaking your trust in Spirit. Your soul knows that even when you can't see how, all things ultimately work for good. Black diamond reminds you that you are an ancient and wise soul with the power to create love even out of darkness. You are made stronger through every experience. The things that once would have caused you pressure will actually become so much easier for you to handle. You are ready for an empowered, beautiful, and precious life journey ahead. Spirit's biggest advice. You are more ready than you give yourself credit for. You are more capable. You are more equipped to handle this than you give yourself credit for. So much beautiful and precious journey, life energy can open up if you can overcome the fear of losing control, that you're not choosing anymore. You are choosing. It's just your higher self. It's not, your intuition is not something outside of you. It's a part of you. It's a part of you. Spirit just doesn't want you to ignore that part of yourself anymore. If you are strong and powerful and capable running off of just one, could you imagine how capable and strong you would be if you allowed yourself to run whole on both? That's Spirit's guidance for you moving into 2027. So secret code name, abstentious. I hope it helped. Much love. I'm here. I am here when you need me. Okay? All of my channels, messages, forevermore will be in divine time, and you can always come back to this reading and check in whenever you need to. All right? Until our paths next cross. Take care. Hi, secret code name Harbinger. Let's get into your cards and find out what is going on for you in 2026. Spirit, please. Starting with January, February, March, at least up until the 21st of March. This is pre-equinox energy. This is where Saturn and Neptune are getting comfy, transiting into Aries. All right, as we wrap up that Pisces cycle, that long cycle. All right, let's see. What is going on, Spirit, in January? Okay, we've got the Sun and the Seven of Cups. The Sun and the Seven of Cups. What's going on in February? We've got the Ten of Wands reversed. With the Empress. Okay. And March. We've got the Page of Wands with the Knight of Wands. Fire. Okay. So, January. This is the Before Tarot. This is when the inner child is coming into the picture. The Sun is bringing in the soul. And the Seven of Cups, the masculine doesn't know what to do. It almost feels, you can tell Spirit is about to give you a spiritual upgrade to your masculine energy, but you don't see it coming. You might have been coming out of 2025. You may have been in a serious resting state where you maybe knew that you couldn't move forward with certain things, right? Because the 19 of the Sun card is a 10. It breaks down to a 1. The beginning right after the closing, the divine new beginning. And I feel like you might have known or felt that Spirit was going to move you in a new direction, but don't really know where Spirit's moving you. All you know is all of the options in front of you. You either can't see them or you're just not feeling it, right? So January, you might be in a bit of a fog. You might be dealing with some brain fog, some masculine fog, right? Not knowing what to choose in January. In February, the Ten of Wands reversed with the Empress. I love this. The Ten of Wands is letting go of spiritual burden. It's letting go of other people's expectations and weights, or the pressures that you've put on yourself to be a certain savior for them, to be the one that they can lean on or depend on to fix their problems. And what you're receiving, right, with the Empress is the release of this pressure, the release of this stress. You might be saying divinely no to things in January. And in February, I think it really does pay off, because other people are asking things of you just because you're strong, just because you can handle it. And maybe you have handled it. Maybe you have been strong and have been doing it for everybody else for a really long time. But you don't want that anymore. Just because you're strong, right? You look at this figure on the card, you know, the blonde masculine on the card, you know, he's very tall, he's strong, and there's someone who is of lesser stature asking him favors about carrying all these huge wands. And the guy's looking at it like, yeah, I can, but at what's the cost? How much are you willing to pay me? And he's handing a single coin. A single little teeny coin. It's like breadcrumbing. You get a thank you when really what you deserve is to be considered and have it reciprocated. That someone would be excited to do you a favor in return. Like, yeah, thank yous are great. But if that's all I'm getting and you're not ever thinking of me and how to make my life easier, the way I think of you and how I can make your life easier, if you're not thinking of me in ways that you can make my experience better or more peaceful or happier, but I'm doing things to bring you peace or joy or happiness, then is it really fair? You can say thank you to me, but there's nothing I could say thank you to you for. It's letting go of that energy. You're receiving what it looks like when your masculine and feminine energy, those inner children, are in alignment, right? If you look at that Empress card, she's got the masculine child and the feminine child sitting in her lap. They're playing together. That's what causes the great receiving. So yeah. And it might come a little bit out of the blue to some people. You saying no. That's that spiritual upgrade, right? That you were getting in January. You didn't even realize it was coming because you've been so strong carrying things and doing things for others for so long. You know, it kind of felt like it would always be that way. And then, you know, something happens in February and you're like, I don't want this. I don't want this. Right? And in March, we got the Page of Wands with the Knight of Wands. That's some serious fire. That's some serious spark. That is some inspiration. That is some reinvention of the self. That is some Phoenix rising energy. This is you being really fucking excited to just do what you want. To do as you're guided to do. And not feeling like, you know, you got to bear the guilt of letting people down. It's like, you know, it's like a part of you snapped into the realization that it's not you that's letting them down. It's you letting yourself down and them not doing the work, the spiritual work, the healing work. It's not your weight to carry. It's not your responsibility. Let's get this little bonus theme card for the post-equinox, right? The March 21st through April 9th kind of energy, where it's, you know, the sun is in Aries with Neptune and Saturn, but it's not quite Mars being home in Aries yet. Mars returns to Aries on April 9th to join the party there. So let's see what this theme is coming up for your Mars and Aries April and May kind of cycle. What is the theme, the energy over the course of those 2.5 weeks? The Tower, that's Mars. And I love this version of the Tower because it is the lighthouse of Alexandria. And it says, not all who wander are lost. They light the way for those who are. You know the way. You are the lighthouse that shines in the dark. This is you being a leader. a spiritual leader. What you're doing with this Aries energy is really going against the people-pleasing, let's just keep the peace energy that opposes it from Libra. Libra will people please and people please and people please to keep the peace. It is actually the most unjust and unfair thing spiritually to try to not cause waves. That is the detriment of Libra. I don't want anybody to feel hurt. Okay, but that means everybody is hurting internally, spiritually speaking. No one's learning, no one's growing. And you're like, I'm going to show you what it looks like to say no. I'm going to show you what it looks like to choose true peace. So what if there's waves? So what? The storms might bring the waves, but they also bring the lightning, and the lightning is the revelation. It lights up the sky in the night. You're a way shower. Right? Secret code name Harbinger. You're a way shower. Let's get into April and May with the traditional Rider-Waite. Let's get into April and May with this Mars and Aries transit. What is going on in April, please, Spirit? What is going on in April, please? Page of Swords and King of Swords. Oh, not only are you completely fucking inspired, you are being crystal clear. Crystal clear. Look at that air. The Page of Swords is beginner's mind. And the King of Swords is fucking smart. Highly intelligent. We're talking about spiritual intelligence. That you've learned the art of detachment and are choosing to detach. Are choosing to be clear. Are choosing to say things in a very calculated way. You're saying what you mean, and you're meaning what you say. In April. Saying what you mean and meaning what you say. You might have some really positive energy going on between the Gemini transits with your placements and what is going on in Aquarius. Yeah. Yeah, that, they can't mess with your logic. No one can, because your logic is higher. Your logic is spiritually transformed. You don't reason the same way that other people reason. They're trying to reason things based on controlling their reality and keeping a false sense of peace. You're reasoning from a place of spiritual harmony. You're coming from a place of reasoning with spiritual logic. It doesn't make sense to pretend. It doesn't make sense to poo-poo things under the rug. The dirt's still there. You could sweep it under the rug. It's still there. It's not clean. You can't hide that and pretend like the dirt's not there. You can't shove all the mess in the closet and pretend that the mess is not there. But anytime you need something out that closet, man, you're reminded of what a fucking mess it is. You're like, if that's how you want to live, spiritually speaking, that's how you want to live, hiding your mess, trying to keep it hidden, fine, that's you, but it's not me. I would prefer to be spiritually clean. Truly. April's energy, yeah. Where are we at with May? Up until the 16th. Where are we at with May? Page of Pentacles and the King of Wands. Page of Pentacles and the King of Wands. I feel, because these two cards, I think they came out together in the last read. But the way that I'm pulling the energy off of them, it's like you have a vision, a higher spiritual vision. And you are willing to seize opportunities. Because the way, you know, this is, the King of Wands is looking at the King of Swords. So it's visualizing in alignment, right? It's visualizing in alignment with this spiritual intelligence. And it's willing to seize an opportunity with the Page of Pentacles. Spirit's like, okay, if I give you this seed, will you help it grow? And I feel like you are more than willing. I think you are consciously choosing in alignment with Spirit. I don't think Spirit is forcing you at all or nudging you at all. I think you've just simply chosen it. I think you have simply chosen it. Let's get an after card tarot for May. Post the 16th, right? From the 17th to the end of the month. Give us one more card. Spirit always makes me laugh. At least one more card. For the rest of May. Right, this post-new moon in Taurus energy. Because Chiron is on Mars during that new moon. Chiron is conjunct Mars in Aries. And, yeah, there we go. Mars and the star, right? The tower and healing. That's exactly what that is. You said, I will level it all to the ground to heal. If Spirit wants me to start over from the ground up, then I will start over from the ground up. Self-deception. I feel like Spirit, you're watering yourself. You're watering yourself. She's pouring the water on her own head. She's watering herself. And that's rippling. I think you may seriously be humbling a lot of people, especially if they thought you'd come back around or, you know, you'd break or bend eventually. I think they're going to have a rude awakening. You're watering yourself, and you realize that watering yourself feels good. You realize that watering yourself feels good. What is going on in June? What is going on in June as we start wrapping up the Pisces and Virgo nodes? What is going on in June? Secret code name, Harbinger. What is going on in June? We have the Ten of Wands. Give me one more. And the Ace of Wands. Huh. Look at this after tarot. The Ten of Wands in this deck, he said, all them wands. All the weights, right, that you were being put upon up here. In February, people were trying to convince you to carry it. You chose one wand, literally one wand. The Divine Spark, the Ace of Wands, the Divine Ignition. You're channeling straight spiritual energy. Because I'm getting this vibe of like it being almost like an antenna. Like you're just absorbing spiritual energy. You might be really sensitive to the things that the sun has going on, like different solar flares or solar storms or different solar energy that comes in through, you know, our nodes, right? The planet's nodes through our north and south pole. You might really be feeling the solar shifts. You might be really feeling the solar shifts in June. You're like, all I need to do is listen to Spirit. All I need to do is do as I'm guided, right? Divine inspiration. That's all I need to carry. I don't need to carry anybody else's weights. I just need to carry what is mine. And transformation comes in. Big time. Big time. What is going on in July? What is going on in July, please, Spirit, as we wrap up the Pisces and Virgo nodes? What is going on in July? What is going on in July? Secret code name Harbinger as we wrap up the Pisces Virgo nodes. Got the Wheel of Fortune. Give me one more. What is going on in July? The Three of Coins. You've got a major opportunity. When we have the Wheel of Fortune come out with this particular card in the After Tarot, that statue is holding a cornucopia. And here's the thing about statues. They last a really long time. They outlive us sometimes. Right? Unless something goes along and specifically intends to destroy it, a statue could last dang near eternity. Could definitely last for what feels like forever. Especially in the right environmental conditions. You're bringing in the kind of feel-goods that ripple beyond just your life. You're healing, you're choosing, right, to be in this kind of alignment. You are doing so much more good than I think you realize. And I do think you realize you are creating good because it feels good what you're doing. So the ripple's there and you're consciously aware of that. I just don't know if you realize just how good it's going to be or how long it's actually going to ripple for. That's actually really nice. That's a contract of fortune and benefit. Jupiter's placement in July might be really significant for you. On a real note. Let's get into August and September as we do get into these new nodes, right? We're in the heart of retrograde season, but pre-Venus retrograde, right? We got a lot of outer planets going retrograde. And the nodes are fresh in Leo and Aquarius. So let's see. Spirit, what is going on for August? What is going on for August? As we kick off this new nodal season, we have the Star. And Justice. Wow. Healed people, healed people. That's this version of the Star card. You understand that everybody is in this classroom called life. The divine is standing up there teaching. And it's giving us all the tools. And it's giving us all the material. It's giving us all the help and aid it could possibly give us. But if the student decides to sleep in class or not pay attention, then Spirit can't make them focus without disrupting the rest of the class. You are aware that some people are just not going to learn. They're not ready to pay attention yet, but you're paying attention. So we got the highest form of the Star card and the highest form of the Justice card in the Myths of Magic Majors Tarot. Says the divine only offers the classroom, the books, the signs, the tools.
You can put the child in the classroom, but you can't force them to pay attention. We cannot control that which is outside of ourselves, but we can control that which is within ourselves. Healed people heal people. They lead by example. It says there is only one truth. You choose what you learned you deserve. Grace is when the universe manifests for you what you don't know you deserve. Mercy is when the universe spares you from manifesting what you think you deserve. And blessings are when you understand you are the universe and you choose to accept the manifestation of both grace and mercy. That's justice. That is the justice of healing. That you are your greatest blessing. That you understand you are the universe. The divine feminine, the divine masculine, you are the universe. And you choose to accept the manifestation of both grace and mercy. That you do deserve things you didn't know you deserved. And that you were spared from things you did not realize that you didn't deserve. You just thought you did. Powerful frickin' energy for August. Powerful energy for August. Full acceptance, right? Spiritually speaking, full acceptance. All year, just getting stronger and stronger in that. What's going on with September? What is going on with September? The Chariot and Judgment. Give the word and I'll make a move. That's the Chariot. This Judgment is Anubis and the sorting of souls. You give the word to Spirit and it'll elevate you into a whole new experience. It could throw you back into the old one if you want to. Judgment, this version of the Judgment card is your choice. It's based off your energy. And according to the rest of your cards, your energy is fucking on point. It is on point. Spirit says, give the word. Tell me that you're ready. Be excited. Even if you don't know what the heck is coming. Tell me you're in. And I will move all of the pieces. I think you're so in. I think come September, you are so in. Huge water energy. Huge water energy. Big time Pluto, big time moon energy too. This might be particularly important when the moon conjuncts Pluto or as it travels through Aquarius and or Scorpio for that point, you know. Wow. What a reading. We're not even done. What a reading. Spirit, what is going on? Because that is all pre-Venus retrograde. That's the switch of the nodes. What's going on in October? Once Venus and Mercury go retrograde and we get these huge shifts in direction, right? With Venus and Mercury also going direct, Saturn direct, Neptune direct, Pluto direct, right? All in October, November, and December. What is going on? What is going on? For secret code name Harbinger. The breakthrough. The breakthrough. Quite literally. Quite literally. Wait until we read that one. What does it come out with, please, Spirit? Give me one more. Spirit's going to blow your mind. What's going on in November? You got the weather vane. and the bridge. And what is going on in December? The infinite and eternal. And one more. The Dark Knight. In the reverse. Am I taking them in the reverse? In the reverse it is. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. In October, the breakthrough epiphany with the lockpick. It's revelation, seeing beyond the matrix. It's a holy shit, it all makes sense moment. Knowing exactly what you need to do. Divine clarity. No more rose-colored glasses. That's the breakthrough. And it comes out with the lockpick. And in the upright, it is trying to find a way into your heart and not yet having the key, trying to gain premature access or emotional manipulation. So you might be realizing, because you've gone through such a cycle, especially now with Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde, you might have someone from your past come back. You might have someone come back from your past, someone that your heart was attached to in some which way, shape, or form. Something that pulled on your heartstrings, even if it's not a person, maybe it's a job, you know, that you left or something. But whatever it is, whoever it is, they're coming back to you, and they're trying to pick your heartstrings. They're trying to gain access to your heart, but they haven't healed. You know, they're using a lockpick. It's not like they've healed their own Chiron wound and they've got the key now. You have the key. You have healed your, you know what I mean? But you might have someone coming back during retrograde that is trying to gain access to your emotional space again, but they haven't done the healing. And you're realizing it in such a big, profound way where maybe you couldn't have pictured not having a certain dynamic of giving with someone before, where you would do for them all of the time. You looked forward to it. You know, you wanted opportunities to give to them. Now, like, you're realizing there is nothing appealing about it at all. Nothing appealing about it at all. They're trying to break into your emotional space. It is a form of manipulation. They're trying to remind you of old energy, good times. Remember the breadcrumbs I gave you? Like, don't you miss those? What if I gave you crumbs all the time? It's just like, man, I don't want any kind of crumbs. Crumbs are just a mess, and I can't sweep it under the rug, you know? Like, spiritually clean. So we got the weather vane and the bridge. The weather vane and the bridge. In the upright, the weather vane is the winds of change, the west wind, potential for transformation, new season in life, deliverance, mercy, blessing, introspection, and self-awareness, self-gratitude. So dang proud of yourself in November. I think Mercury and Venus both go direct in November. You are so dang proud of yourself. That weather vane card. And the bridge, it says, choosing to leave the shadows of the past behind, no longer interested in uphill battles, leading by example, holding space so others can follow when they're ready. In time, others will catch up. So freaking on it. My gosh. Yeah, you don't want uphill battles anymore. You're not trying to fight for what you deserve. You're like, I learned how to water myself. Spirit guides me. I feel good about it. I'm not nearly as stressed out. I'm not nearly as put upon in my energy. Like, it feels so good. So good to let the past go. It's so nice. The infinite and eternal with the Dark Knight reversed. The infinite and eternal upright the method to the divine madness. Everyone is our ally in soul. There is no such thing as a true enemy. All are course correctors. That's that gratitude, right? That's that gratitude you are feeling with the bridge. Others will catch up. Like, you are glad that you had the experience, right? The weather vane, knowing that self-gratitude was right there. I knew I saw it somewhere. It says self-gratitude. This is the method to the divine madness. You realize and recognize that even the villains are your angels because they helped course correct you out of spiritually void energy. Dark Night in the reverse. It says, seeing how your intuition has been trying to guide you all along. Tuning into your higher self, mastering self, surrendering. Yeah. You're in it with spirit. You're in it to win it with spirit. You finish out the year so strong. Even through that final test, you just passed it with flying colors. So what is the spiritual guidance from Jupiter as it retrogrades into the 2027 year? What is the spiritual guidance for your Jupiter retrograde wisdom from our Jupiter energy going into 2027? Bright destiny. Bright destiny. It says, just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly. How beautiful is that? Card number 14. It says, bright destiny. To become truly yourself, shining your divine beauty and light, you will go through a process of releasing what is no longer right and true for you. Like the caterpillar who sheds the chrysalis when it is time to emerge as the butterfly, you will let go of the person you once thought you needed to be. This can be freeing and exciting. It can also seem frightening. You may feel crazy sometimes, trying to hold on to a past that is no longer available to you, and grasping for a future that is yet to be. Sometimes it can feel like a dark night of the soul, filled with questioning and confusion. Others may not understand what is happening, and you may feel as though you can't really explain it either. In such times, we have to trust that all the changes and uncertainty are part of a process of growth, letting go in order to open up to something amazing and new. This is happening for you now. You don't have to be afraid. You are going through this because you are ready for it, even if you think you are not. There is a loving reason for all of it, even if you cannot see it right now. Put your faith in the mystery. Trust that the answers will come, and so will the joy of all that you have grown into. Stay true to your path, and know that you have a bright destiny ahead of you. Really, secret codename Harbinger, that's not exactly what you are in 2026. Honest to God. I feel like Spirit's letting you know, like, you're doing it, and it's easier for me to say it and read it than it is to actually go through it. Like, none of these processes are easy. They're not rainbows and fluff. It's hard because you're going against everything you've ever been taught. You're going against everything that you've witnessed other people do. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're supposed to act. This is what you're supposed to choose. This is what you're supposed to say. This is what you're supposed to, you know? And it's like, you're actively choosing not to. It's not easy. But Spirit is letting you know you got this. And because you got this and you choose the whole way, you stay true to yourself the whole way, you do not diverge off your path with Spirit at all. Spirit's letting you know it's beautiful. That it is beautiful. And that you should be really, really proud of yourself for all that you have or will go through in 2026. Really fucking shining. Really shining. Like, you went deep. The weather vane has the whale on it. Like, you went really deep and crossed this bridge, and you ain't never going back to the shadows of your past, where life was hard and you were dealing with the shadow of the mountains of life. You're like, nah. Sunshine. Sunshine. That's what you opened up the year with in January, and that's what you're walking towards in November. Huge upgrade to your masculine energy. Huge. So, secret code name Harbinger. I love you. I hope the message resonated with you. I hope it lands throughout the year as you come back and check in on it. Know that I'm here for you. Okay, I am here for you always. Until our paths next cross. See you later. Hello, secret code name 𝗪𝗠𝗁𝗪𝗠𝗪𝗠𝗪𝗠𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙 But that's exactly how Spirit gave it to me. And if you look into etymology of like words, anything with 𝗧 on the end typically means to be full of. So 𝗪𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 is to be filled with calm. That is what the word would mean if it were real. So let's see, if you were guided to this secret code name, what is going on with January, February, and March up to the 21st of March, right? This is our pre-equinox energy before the sun enters Aries to join Neptune and Saturn. This is while Saturn and Neptune are still, you know, transiting out of Pisces and into Aries together. So this is what is going on in those months. And I'll note too, if you were to look up or Google the word calmacious, even though it's obviously not a real word, calamitous is what comes up. And so I feel that there is a chance that despite the chaos, you yourself might be quite calm, and or Spirit's guidance to you, right? To make it a point to focus on your center. So what is going on with January? We got the 10 of coins. What else? And the King of Cups. All right. What's going on in February? We got Temperance in the reverse. What else? And the 9 of Swords. And then what is going on in March up to the 21st? We have the Knight of Cups with the 8 of Cups. Okay. Oh, I just so happened to peek at the bottom. It's the Empress. Okay. So what is going on in January? We have the 10 of coin with the King of Cups. And so, you know, you may be handling things in the mundane realm, whether it's your home situation, your work and career situation, right? Things that concern money and structure. You might be handling it with a lot of emotional intelligence. You may be keeping your emotions to yourself, processing things internally, and not necessarily blabbing about how you're feeling about certain things. I feel like whatever it is that you're focusing on, whatever is important to you, that is what you are kind of handling with. It's like handling it with a very gentle touch, right? Almost like white gloves, but not because, you know, white gloves is you're afraid of getting your hands dirty. It's just a gentle hand, you know? Like the King of Cups here has his hand gently in his lap. The mother here, the woman figure, is gently holding and rocking a baby, and then the older gentleman sitting on the card is holding 2 little white puppies, and he's just holding them very gently in his lap. And I feel like You're more focused on enjoying things and being kind and gentle as a soul. And just doing your best to maintain your sense of structure, your sense of stability, your sense of what is familiar, and keeping your feelings a little bit to yourself, right, in January. In February, we have Temperance in the reverse, and we have the Nine of Swords. And in the Before Tarot, you know, in order to do the alchemy, you have to accept the water. You can't, you know, pour one cup into the other and back again unless you have something in the cups to pour from. And I feel like this might just very well be your cups being empty, right? You might be filling everybody else's cup, but who's filling your cup? And it's causing you a lot of anxiety, right? You might not even necessarily realize at this point how much anxiety it's costing you, or it's going to cause you. You know, your cup's empty. You need a refill. You need to be considered. You need to let the universe pour into you. Allow yourself to receive that divine flow of intuitive energy, to really register it, you know. I feel like when we're thinking about our emotions and we're keeping them beneath the surface, it's not always because they're the best emotions, you know what I mean? It's because they're not pleasant emotions, sometimes more often than not. And we keep it to ourselves and we process it, you know, through it ourselves. We validate it or excuse it for whatever reason and say it's okay because, you know, this, that, or the other, stability is there. But the reality is, if it doesn't feel good, then it really doesn't feel good. And you might have depleted yourself. You might have depleted your emotional energy. People don't always realize just how much energy it takes to maintain a calm exterior when our inner world is anything but calm. You know what I mean? Like, we have a lot that we're feeling about, but we're not necessarily discussing it. It takes a lot of energy to internalize that and keep it in. So I think in February, you're really feeling the empty, and the wounds of other people are really starting to bleed on you, right? If we're looking at this Nine of Swords, all the swords above the bed, right? They all have blood on them. And it's like the wounds of other people, like you're not cut, but those swords are there. And it's like the wounds of everybody else are bleeding on you. You're empty. They're just taking, right? They're just taking. So in March, we have the Knight of Cups with the Eight of Cups. And you can see in the Knight of Cups, she's offering a cup to the Knight. The feminine energy is holding it up to the masculine, right? Our intuition is saying, hey, here's this cue, it doesn't feel good, and we keep drinking it, right? It's not fulfilling, and yet we keep drinking it. Why don't we try something else? Because all of these 8 cups are not going to leave you satisfied, right? The masculine on this card. All of these 8 cups are not going to leave you feeling satisfied. Why don't we try this instead? That's your intuition nudging at you, like, hey, you know, this feeling, this anxiety, this feeling empty and drained, this tired energy, never being satisfied, never being fulfilled. Your thirst for happiness and joy and peace and fulfillment is never quenched. Spirit's like talking to you, and it's like, why don't we try something different? Right? Why don't we try something different? What is the theme post-equinox from March 21st to April 9th, right before Mars enters Aries, when the sun is in there. What is going on? What is the theme leading up to the Mars and Aries energy that we're going to be having for April and May? What is the theme? Temperance in the upright. Love that. Especially because it was in reverse here, right? This particular version of the Empress card, it kind of plays a little bit on this scene in the Matrix with the boy and the spoon, right? And there is no spoon. This is about becoming aware that there is only truly one cup, and it fills itself. Think about that. The black cup and the white cup filling each other up. They're not actually separate cups. There's just one. And it fills itself. It's becoming aware of what the Ace of Cups kind of really is. That the divine overflows. That this portal, right? We have this divine portal of light in the background, and the river is running through and onto her feet. The divine creates the flow, right? The divine creates the flow. That's the theme. This is Sagittarian energy and Ophiuchian energy. It's like final degrees of Sag kind of energy. Realizing it's not necessarily you water me and I water you and vice versa. With people. You know, if I water you, you water me. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. And Spirit's like, it's not like that. That's not actually the way it is. The way it is your masculine, the mind, pouring energy into the feminine, you know, the heart space, the intuitive space, the divine. And the divine, the feminine, therefore pouring back into the masculine and the mind feels good about the choices that it's making. It's the alchemy from within. There is only one cup. You give and receive with yourself, and then the universe overflows to you. That's how it actually works. Right? That's how it actually works. So let's see then what is going on in April and May as Mars transits through his home domain of Aries with the Sun and Saturn and Neptune and Chiron and everything going on in there. What is going on in April? We got the Three of Swords and the King of Cups. So you know what? Here, if you know you're drinking something that doesn't feel good and Spirit's like, let's try something else. Like, yeah, it might hurt. You might be taking some kind of losses, especially if these people that you were pouring into or giving to never really reciprocated. You might be feeling the pain of it, but you are handling it quite composed with the King of Cups. You know, it's that calm, I can handle this, I can move through this, internal processing kind of energy. Let's listen to how I'm feeling. You know, if this is what I was choosing and it doesn't feel good, then I do have to let it go. And it's almost like realizing that you're sad about letting it go because it was so familiar. And there's parts of you in there that were beautiful, and you're maybe tossing around the fear that you'll never be able to give like that or feel like that or be empathic like that again. But I think feeling that and it feeling shitty is spirit letting you know, like, hey, you're not actually meant to feel shitty, so that must not be true then. Like, let's just stay calm, right? Let's just stay calm. Because if it doesn't feel good to think it, if it doesn't feel good to believe it, then it's not true. Then it must not be true. I'll never be able to love like that again. I'll never be able to give myself like that again. I'm going to be afraid to give. No, you won't. Not with the right people. Not with the aligned people. Not with the people who get so appreciative and so excited to reciprocate. It might be different for you to like receive, but I think that is the painful reality, that you're afraid that you can't give because you won't receive. And you're only willing to give if you are also receiving. Right? That's where the pain comes from. I'll never receive. Right? I gave the best and I did not receive in return. So I'll never get to give like that again because I'll never receive. But that's the false belief. Spirit's like, if that belief causes you pain, then it must not be true. Maybe you were truly giving the best of yourself to just people who were not ready to receive it, not ready to reciprocate it, because you were learning your value and that you do deserve to receive what you give. You do deserve to receive all of it, not 80% of it or 90% of it or even 99% of it. Like, you deserve to receive 100% of what you give to other people. And if it feels good to give like that, then you have to trust and be able to trust that Spirit is going to line you up with someone who not only helps you feel the way you want to feel and receive the way you want to receive, right? That Empress that was on the bottom of the Before Tarot, that you are able to receive. And then it's going to feel so good to give. Even more so this time because you are receiving in return. It is in that divine flow, right? What is going on with May, at least up until the 16th of May? What does that look like? We got the Four of Cups. With the Page of Swords. I think this is where you communicate you're not actually happy. This is that Ace of Cups energy, right? That we were talking about, discussing the Temperance card, the theme card for these 2 months. Spirit's offering you the Ace of Cups. It's offering you that 1 cup. And you're looking at the 3 of Cups, which is similar to that 3 of Swords, you know, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to cut it off. I think you're really realizing that you deserve so much. And it's not fair. It's not fair that you can give like you give and hold composure and be calm and maintain so much for others, and they just take it and don't replenish the source. You know, I think you're ready to communicate and cut things off where you need to cut things off. Express the fact that, you know, at the very least to yourself, that the things that you've been focusing on, these third-party energies, whether they're people or situations, or even circumstances beyond your control that has truly nothing to do with you if you think about it. You know, it's just, it's not the energy you want to keep in your field. It's not the energy you want to keep around your energy field anymore. It's a distraction for what you really need to be doing with yourself, right? Let's get one more card for May from the After Tarot, right? Post May 16th. After the new moon in Taurus, with the Uranus and Mercury conjunction, and that Mars and Chiron conjunction energy. Especially because they're right there in like a semi-sextile to each other. So what is going on? One more card for the end of May. Yeah, we got Strength. Spirit's so damn proud of you. You're holding your own. You're letting go of control. That's what this is. Communicating that you don't want this anymore. You're letting go of control. You're accepting. You're accepting that it doesn't feel good and you don't want it anymore. And it feels really good to let it go. I feel like it's a weight being lifted off in May. And your mind, right, your masculine energy, the lion, is being embraced by your feminine energy. You're getting those feelings from within yourself that's like, yes, this is the right direction. This feels so much better. This feels lighter. It's confirming for you, right, that when you cut things off that don't feel good, it really does feel good to do it. Your feminine, how you feel, is rewarding your mind, your masculine, for making the choice that it did. So good for you. That's May. Let's get into June. What is going on in June? This is wrapping up the Pisces and Virgo node cycle. June and July. So what is going on in June? Ooh, we got the Ace of Pentacles and the Two of Swords. That's for June. What's going on in July? Ten of Wands in the reverse. And the Seven of Coin. So in June, the Ace of Pentacles with the Two of Swords. Now that looks like a Japanese beetle. And if you've ever seen Japanese beetles or you know what they do, they will wreak fucking havoc on your roses. And this is right outside the garden. I think the universe, because you've chosen it, right? You've chosen what feels good for you and to say no to what intuitively doesn't sit right. It's not fair. It doesn't sit right with your being. You know what feeling like crap feels like when you're out of alignment, and you know what feeling good feels like when you are in alignment. So I feel like Spirit throws you a Japanese beetle. Like your roses are there, right? The flowers are there. The roses are in her crown, around her waist. The roses are in the garden. It's right there, right up the path. And Spirit throws a beetle at you. And it's pretty. It's got all pretty colors, but it is a pest, and it is going to destroy your garden. And you have a choice to make. And your mind might be at odds. Because your feminine doesn't know how it's going to feel with one choice or the other. Choosing this might be good, choosing that might be good. Choosing this might result in something awful, and choosing that might result in something awful. I will give you a clue. If you are confused and you are unsure, the answer is neither. The answer is neither then. You keep moving forward. Because if it was in alignment and it was right, you would know it. You would feel it like you felt it here. It would feel so right. The divine would never have you confused. The divine would never have you question or guess. So for June, as we wrap up the Pisces and Virgo nodes, Spirit might just throw you a spiritual pest to see if you've actually taken in this whole lesson, right? This whole lesson. In July, we have the Ten of Wands in the reverse with the Seven of Coin. And you know what? You might relapse a little into spiritual pouring, self-sacrifice, just a little bit. You might give just a little bit, especially with that Ten of Wands in the reverse, because in the upright, in the after tarot, he puts all the wands down and is just focusing on his own wand, focusing on his own spirit, right? The suit of wands is spirit. And that's in reverse. So you're not just focusing on your own. And it's the Seven of Pentacles, which means it's a lot of work and a lot of waiting. And I think sooner than later, you actually do realize that it's a lot of work, and maybe you're just going to get out ahead while you can. Because I think you really do just want to focus on yourself. I think you have someone who's, you know, maybe trying to come back in and get you to give. And it might be someone that
you know, you really do want the best for them, hope the best for them, pictured yourself long term with them in your life, you know, whether it's family or a best friend or even a partner, you know, like really kind of hoping that it could be better. But then once you get to July, you're like, I really do just want to focus on myself though. Like, I don't want to put in all this extra work and wait all this extra time just to see, and then it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? Let's see what's going on for August. Let's see what's going on for August and September. Because these are new nodes, right? These are the nodes fresh in Leo and Aquarius. It is the heart of retrograde season, pre-Venus retrograde in August and September. So this is our fresh new nodes. We've got a lot of outer planets in retrograde. And this is before Venus goes retrograde, right? One of our inner planets. So let's see what is going on in August and September. We got Temperance again. We got Temperance. That is the 𝗪𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗂𝗀𝗪𝗀. And the Emperor. Woohoo. All right. This version of Temperance. The 𝗪𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗀. Transmutation is the art of recovery. Says, in time, pain can turn to power. Chaos can be wielded to create order. Lies can be sensed to discover the truth. Mistakes become lessons learned, and our lowest of lows become the platforms from which we soar. You're learning so much. Like, if you were strong before, I think you're really learning the strength you are capable of now. Especially if someone had you trained, right? This is where you are coming into your aura power, your masculine power, where you can choose. It's like, no, you're not going to train me how to be. I'm going to simply be. And if you want me to be in your energy, then you will have to learn how to be in my energy, to vibe on my level. This is about being the leader that trains. This is about the way shower energy. Aura and power. This is where you're coming through with like big dick energy on a real note, where you are number one. Your mind, your mental health, your healing is number one. It's not about anybody else and their healing and how much they could benefit from you. It's not about them at all. It's not about them at all. I think you've learned a lot. I think the pain has taught you a lot. And that you are not willing to put in so much effort and work so hard and sit around and wait anymore. You don't want to wait as people heal. It's like, come back and vibe with me and resonate with me and align with me when you are healed. That's what I'm doing. Link up with me then. We'll catch up then. And in the meantime, I'm going to do my healing thing. I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to focus on getting my mind right, my thoughts right, my choices right, my judgments of character and situations right. Yeah. Getting into, in September, we got the Tower. And you're just really focusing on you. Really, double Tower. Wow. Double Tower. Did I not say you were a way shower? We got the Lighthouse of Alexandria and the Vimana. Not all who wander are lost. They light the way for those who are. You are a lighthouse. This is about doing what you know you must. Merge your free will with divine will. Achieve samadhi, nirvana, heaven while living, peace on earth. Samadhi is the Sanskrit word I literally have tattooed on my wrists.
so that I can give and receive that energy for other people. That's my reminder. To choose samadhi myself, because it allows other people the opportunity to choose it too. You are giving yourself the opportunity to heal and be better and bring in beautiful energy to receive, beautiful life experience to receive, because you want that for everybody else. And you're like, okay, well, the only way that I can get it is the only way that you can get it, and you're not going to do it first. So you know what? If I'm tuned in, let me show you. I'm going to lead by example. And that's exactly what you do. You lead by example. This is aligning your free will with divine will. It's like that mantra that I've talked about on the channel. Dear universe, spirit, whatever you would have me do, whatever you would have me say, wherever you would have me go, if it's in the highest good of all, so be it. And releasing that mantra out there with no expectations about what right or wrong is or anything. Just however you would guide me, spirit. If it is in the highest good of all, then I'm in. No judgment on what you're asking of me, but trust and faith in full. Whatever you would have me do, whatever you would have me say, wherever you would have me go, if it is in the highest good of all, so be it. Being the way shower. That's going to be big energy for your Leo and Aquarian nodal cycle. Big deal. Let's see what's going on in October, November, and December. Venus goes retrograde in October. Mercury is retrograde. And then they all go direct. Venus is direct. Mercury goes direct. Pluto goes direct. Saturn and Neptune go direct. Right, so we have a lot of change in energy in the last 3 months of the year, and then we're going to pull a special guidance card for and from the Jupiter retrograde cycle going into 2027. So let's see what is going on in October, please, Spirit. What is going on in October? This is my doodle deck. We got the Dawn. What else? We got the pedestal in the reverse with the fish and the baggage. Okay. What is going on in November? We got the forge with the comet. And lastly, what is going on in December? I've got the mirror with the sun and the fireplace. Okay. October. The dawn. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. Free of the dark night energy, going into a glow-up phase. Going into a glow-up phase. That's what I'm talking about. The pedestal in the reverse is knowing that you are last on the priority list to yourself and others, neglect, and heading for rock bottom energy. You know that if you don't come into this new day, that's exactly what it is. You've always been last on the priority list to yourself. You've neglected yourself for a long time, letting others neglect you for a long time. You know that if you keep going, you would hit rock bottom, which is exactly what the fish does. The fish goes all the way down to the bottom. It's deep diving within, finding what is nourishing within. Archangel Uriel can assist you here. It's lucrative energy. This is where you really tap into that temperance card with Shango of turning pain into power. If you're not familiar with the Orishas, they're from the Yoruba faith. The Orisha is spelled O-R-I-S-H-A, and it's Shango, like mango, but with S-H at the front. You might want to really tune into them, Archangel Uriel and the Orisha Shango, and dive into those archetypes right? They could be really beneficial for you, especially if we're letting go of baggage, you know, because you don't want to take your past into the future by failing to address it in the present. You know that it's unresolved trauma, and that being blind to the past abuses of, you know, of your peace, making excuses, never feels good. Bringing the past forward wouldn't feel good. So you're very aware of it. You are aware that the dawn is coming. You are aware that you've been last. You know that it's going to take a little time to dive deep with yourself. And I feel like you're willing to do it because you know the payoff is worth it. Getting rid of all that baggage, not taking it with you into the future, that the healing process is worth it, that the deep dive within the self is worth it. That changing that old pattern of pouring for people who don't pour back or the same way, you know, you're not taking that with you. You're like, no, I want that even, easy, reciprocal energy where I'm not an afterthought, but where I'm just thought about in someone's free time because they enjoy me being happy. And like, that's what they think about during their day. They think of me throughout their day and what would make me smile. What would make my life and my day better. You know, when life has so many other things going on, they want to be the brightness in your day. You want that kind of energy because that's the kind of energy you bring, right? So October is really big on that. It's about realizing that you haven't been put on the pedestal for long enough and that it's time you put yourself on there. And it's requiring some healing, which is exactly what you do in November. We got the Forge and we got the Comet. So the Forge and the Comet is about being molded or shaped into a divine weapon, being reforged, purging through fire, finding new purpose after feeling useless. Divine travelers who leave as fast as they came, truth bringers whose insights are meant to outlast this lifetime. Purpose to elevate your conscious awareness, a flash of the one in your mirror. That's what the Comet is in the upright. I think the universe knows that you're accepting this in October. And that it's going to bring you someone who comes in like a flash. They're not going to stick around forever. They're in there for a season and a reason, right? Someone who's very seasoned in reason. And that fast could be in your life for a day. That fast could be in your life for a couple months. That fast could be in your life for a year or two, right? Time is relative. But I feel like whoever this person is, they come in like a flash. They bring huge revelation. And what they give to you is truly priceless. They give you, I'm hearing an example of what your value is. They're giving you an example of what your value is. And I think that's a big step. Spirit's working with you. And I feel like this might not be like a romantic energy. It might be a friend energy. It might be a coworker energy or something like that. It might be at work. But they're showing you what you deserve to receive. They're letting you know what it feels like to be considered or thought of, to be truly appreciated and have things be reciprocal. Like, thank you, I appreciate you for doing that. I'm glad you got this done. I'm so glad it was done right. You know, like, let me honor you in some way. You know, whatever that is. They're showing you some respect and honoring your giving. They're giving back. They're showing you what reciprocity looks like. That you deserve to be filled. You know, you're not meant to be drained of your cup and empty for everybody. You're meant to be filled. That's great for November. And then in December, we have the Mirror with the sun and the fireplace. The mirror is looking at your shadow in the mirror. What you can't stand in them, you are also. Take the advice you give and practice what you preach. Really observe in December. Really observe. Because to be fair, if you're going through the forge with the comet with that card here, you might have someone in your mirror who is exactly like you were up here. Let's just use the example. You might be dealing with someone in your workplace who is going above and beyond, who is doing extra, who is looking for that reciprocal energy. And you might be looking at them and you can't stand them. They do this, they do that, they do so much. They're so fucking perfect all the time. Like, you might get annoyed with them, and you might actually have a flash in the mirror at how other people think looking at you when you were in this energy. Oh, you're so perfect. And their own resentment because they're not perfect. Literally just wanted to break you. You might get a really interesting flash in the mirror. Especially, you know, when the sun is considered, sun rules our ego, our persona, you know. You might have someone in your mirror who is a lot like you. And not only are they a lot like you, but because they are, you understand why they are the way they are. No one gives them any credit for all the good they do. You know what I mean? No one ever told them that they're enough and that they don't have to do more than what they're doing. Like, hey, you worked really hard. Why don't you take some time for yourself? Hey, you're always doing for other people and going above and beyond. Why don't we do something for you and give you a break? You realize you and this person are not very different. And it might actually form a nice bond between you with the fireplace. Because the fireplace in the upright, it's being kept warm through the collective winter. A divine hug through the dark. Comfort despite external conditions. I feel like at some point, whoever this mirror person is that you end up meeting at the end of the year, I think there might be some serious friction between y'all before it ultimately ends up coming together. And I'll use the example because we were kind of talking about work, but you can, you know, use it in any part of your life that makes sense for you at the time, you know. But when I started working at my last corporate job, when I was a general manager, I started as an assistant manager, and I was so dang good at my job. I loved my job. I was good at my job, and I was efficient. Like, I did a great job. And when I started as an assistant manager, my general manager felt really threatened, you know, and I had people trying to sabotage me, not standing up for me, people talking about me in upper management behind my back. And lo and behold, I ended up getting my GM position, general manager position. The old GM got fired. I actually had to replace her before I moved on to my new store. And the assistant manager at the time, that store that I took over, was really afraid because, you know, I was geared to open a new store across the state line. I was geared to open my own store. But she was afraid that I was going to stay. And if I stayed, then she wouldn't get the GM position, the hole that I would have left. And she wanted it so bad. And she did. She tried throwing me under the bus. She tried causing me problems. She was stressing me the f*** out like crazy. Like crazy. And it was a nightmare. I couldn't wait to get out of that store. It was so bad. But that's because I was exceptional. I was a threat to what they wanted. I was a threat. I didn't want what they were after.
I didn't want it. But I was the best there was. And I was willing to do whatever it took to make it work, to make it great. As soon as I was at my new store, my old AGM did take over being general manager of that store, and she fucking loved me after that. It was like complete night and day. She still, to this day, texts me. Every once in a blue moon, she'll text me that she's thinking of me, and how are you doing? I haven't been there since March. I mean, how many people have you really kept in contact with from old jobs? You know what I mean? She loves me. I was a threat to her. I had people throwing me under the bus in my new store. My AGMs were going crazy because they were all gunning for my job. They all wanted my position. They all wanted the money. None of them wanted the responsibility. They stressed me the hell out. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. I had to choose myself. Best choice I fucking made. Truly was. Best choice I made. I'm not going to stay in a place where, you know, my even higher management is not defending me and what is going on. Because to me, it was clear as day. But I wasn't, you know, from the hometown like everybody else. I'm not from there. I'm from New Jersey. I'm out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in the middle of the country. I'm not from around here. And they all are same hometown people. They chose each other. They chose that loyalty. That's fine. They don't have me there. Damn if my HR hasn't been keeping up on me lately. Checking in on me lately. My old HR from that company has reached out to me a couple times. Trying to set up a meeting with me after the new year. But I'm not a fool. I'm not going to go back into that. That's how I'm going to be treated. I'm not going to be respected. Where my loyalty was real and genuine. My care was loyal and genuine. You know, and that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. You might be at odds with this person because you threaten each other. You're both exceptional. You both do a lot. You both work hard. You both put in a lot of effort. Both of you are afraid it's not good enough. It's like maybe just do your best and not worry about it. If someone is better than you, quote unquote, better than you for a certain job, like you got to be able to tell yourself it's false. What's meant to be is meant to be, period. If it's not in your highest good, then it's not in your highest good. If it's meant for someone else, it's meant for someone else. And that doesn't matter if it's a job. It doesn't matter if that's a best friend or a friend group. It doesn't matter if that's a romantic partner. They might be suited for someone else, but they're not suited for you. You might be better suited somewhere else. Where you're at is not suitable for you. Not where Spirit's taking you. Let's get into your guidance. Let's get into your guidance card now that I've went on my little my rant. What's your guidance card for and from Jupiter retrograde from December 12th forward going into 2027? What is the guidance from Spirit as you let go of 2026 and move into 2027? There it is. Lioness, lion-hearted. Look at that. Card number 26. It says, Lioness brings you her soul medicine, helping you recognize that your feminine power is grounded in dignity.
She stands against beauty being used as a tool of manipulation to get something, to control someone, to put someone else down and make them feel unworthy. She knows that such behavior is dishonorable, taking what was once beautiful and distorting it into something ugly and corrupt. Lioness is the medicine of honor, of beauty that is enjoyed but not exploited. She is the sole medicine of courage. She refuses to be used as a pawn in another's game. She refuses to play with the minds and emotions of others. Her ways are direct and open. She is confident in who she is, and she is not afraid to be honest. Some may try to get the better of you, but she knows that you will never let yourself be manipulated. Even if quietly spoken, your truth has the impact of a roar. Lioness is not afraid to claim what is rightfully hers, and she will not let you quit until you secure what is meant for you. With her confidence in your heart, you can live your life in the open without any need to hide. You are the holder of lioness medicine, a brave one, a huntress, and a protector of dignity, justice, and truth. You respect yourself. That's the advice from Spirit moving into 2027. You respect yourself. If someone else is competing with you and trying to one-up you or be better than you or trying to throw you under the bus, don't try and outdo them. Don't compete. Don't compete. If that's the kind of person that they want, someone who is willing to put someone else down in order to get, if that's who they want, then they can have them. Then they can have them. But don't compete. If someone asks you to do something and you really can or you really don't want to and it's really not your responsibility, just be like, no, I'm sorry. You know, why don't you ask so-and-so? Why don't you ask them? And they'll probably be like, oh, well, they can't because blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. Well, I hope you find somebody then. You know, don't throw yourself under the bus because someone is trying to benefit from the fact that you used to be or tried to be or strive to be number one, be the best of whatever it is. The best relationship partner, the best employee, the best son, daughter, sister, you name it. Don't let people try and hold that over your head. Because that kind of person, that kind of pour until you're empty person didn't suit you. Don't get roped back in because you have someone in your mirror who reminds you a lot of you. And just like people used you and extorted you for your energy before, consciously or unconsciously, they chose to do that. There's two of you around. If you don't think people will use that to their advantage, calloused and cold people, spiritually unaware people, morally unhinged people, they can benefit from two people competing. I mean, that's what people do with partnerships. People will triangulate to make their partner jealous, to get their partner competing for their attention and affection. They'll cheat or they'll flirt with somebody else in front of them. And then they'll gaslight them and say, oh no, I'm not flirting with them. You misunderstood. No, the fuck you didn't. You're trying to make me jealous so that I compete. People triangulate. That's what Spirit's making you aware of. People do it in families. People do that all over the place. My mother used to pin me against my sister all the time. All the time. To the point that me and my sister do not speak to this day. And won't. People tried having me compete at workplaces. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not that person. I do an excellent fucking job. You're not going to make me feel like I'm any less because I won't compete with someone else. No different in relationships. I have a fucking ex trying to get a hold of me every which way he can. No matter how many times I block him, he's still reaching out to me on all kinds of shit. Just talk to me, for fuck's sake. Just talk to me. It's like, you are with someone. I don't fucking care. I'm not going to compete. I don't care. I don't care. It's unreal how much I do not care. I don't care. And that's just kind of the vibe at the end of the year, right? This lioness energy. I will not compete. My quiet silence is my roar. I'm just ignoring the shit out of him. Just fucking ignoring him. I said my piece. I got my closure. I said my goodbye. That's it. It's done. I have nothing left to say. Nothing. I'm not going to compete. Someone's going to see me as the fucking prize that I am across the board. They're going to love me and they're going to honor me and they're never going to make me compete ever. There is no competition. The choice is clear to them. It doesn't matter if it's family. It doesn't matter if it's work. It doesn't matter if it's romance. It doesn't matter if it's friends. They either support and they're there and they care and they honor and respect and trust, or they don't. Or they don't. One of the biggest lessons I've ever learned in this life. That's that pedestal being in the reverse. Never being on it. Right? Never being on it. Deserving it, never being on it. It's like, that has to stop. And I think this year, 2026 for you is really about coming into that self-trust and knowing your value, knowing your worth, knowing that it kind of sucks, being afraid of the unknown, not knowing how it's going to work out, where it's all going to end up at the end of the day. But that it's a hell of a lot better than being empty all the time. Being stressed out all the time, competing all the time, not feeling good enough all the fucking time. Watering yourself is better than that. Right? So secret code name, 𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗂𝗧. I love you much. And I'm always here if you need me. You can always reach out if you need me. All right. Until our paths next cross. Take care.